Peace, family. So I'm gonna try to deal with this subject as quickly and as responsibly as I can. Um, Now, my topic is why certain people that disrespect the foundation or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad from our community, why some of them might need their ass whooped. And so I just want to say from the beginning too. Now, I'm not telling nobody, I'm not advocating for nobody to go do harm on anybody else. But what I'm saying is sometimes some of these people and some of the stuff they say is so egregious that they worthy of getting their ass whooped. And you could understand why some people would want to do that. Because, when you look at our history in this country, the slave period, the transatlantic slave trade, chattel slavery, right? We behind enemy lines of basically destroyed people that every time we try to build ourselves up and mount a movement or a leader would rise, obviously we would have the opposition of the United States government. And this shit ain't just something light. When you say, the CIA and COINTELPRO and FBI, they take down whole other nations. So never mind you talking about you looking at a small portion of a population that's living under the jurisdiction and laws of a certain nation. You know what I'm saying? We talking about a country that destroy other countries, right? And every time our leaders rise up, that's the opposition they facing. So I'm gonna deal with a couple quick subjects. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Dr. Sebi, Dr. Clark, and Dr. Ben. Three separate lessons of people who have publicly talked a lot of shit about Minister Farrakhan and to a lesser degree the nation, and some different results that we're going to look at and compare certain things. I'm also going to touch on what was the environment around the time when Brother Malcolm was murdered, and just a little bit of that, because I'm definitely not going to touch on that. For any real historian or any person that researched a little bit, knows a little bit of information, it was clear that the nation did not kill Brother Malcolm. And so people who keep parroting that false story is doing the work of the enemy. You know what I mean? But like I said, I'm going to talk a little bit about the environment. But first, what I want to deal with is for the people who always say the Nation of Islam they only hurt their own kind. They only hurt black people. That's the biggest crock of bullshit, I ever heard. And it amazes me how stupid our people is. How dumb we is, man. I mean, at this point in 2018, and I'm really talking about the people who profess to be scholars and start talking on subjects that they have no idea about what the hell they talking about. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of reading because I got to do a little bit of quoting. That's what I do. Anybody that watch anything I ever did, I always want to stay close to the sources to back up what I'm saying. Because I can just get up here and ramble real quick, and that'll be that, because I know what I'm talking about based on the source information that's available. But other people might just, you checking it out. You might not got time to go into it like that. So anyway, all right. So this first book, History of the FOI, from 1930 to 1950, right? Volume 1. Like I said, I'm going to just read short cases to show that the nation been putting in work for so long, so many incidents, so many different things has happened. Certain people, you don't even have the right to open your mouth to say certain stuff that you saying out your mouth. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like that's why you gotta spank a kid ass because he don't know no better. Like for instance, I always tell my son this lesson, right? People learn in three different types of ways, right? You got people who learn from the experience of what happened to other people. So some people, it's good enough for them that Say if you was walking down the street, you seen a sign on the gate that said "Do not enter." There's a dog on the premise. Okay, cool. I ain't going in that gate. You ain't got to tell me. You got other people who will take it a step further. They're going to go over the gate. They got to hear the dog barking. Okay, they jump back over the gate. I'm out of this motherfucker. Then you got people that got to get their ass bit by the dog, right? Because they're on that beast level. They're not going to take the examples. They're not going to learn from other people. They're not going to learn by the reading. They got to get their ass whooped because the only way they're going to learn is through feeling pain, right? And a lot of our people is still in that condition that, they don't learn just by the simple way. They have to feel pain to understand what the hell they doing and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, real quick, right? Like I said, it's so much stuff in here. So, but I'm going to read. This was an incident that happened Thursday, April 19th, 1934. And the Detroit Free Press headline read, 13 police hurt battling a voodoo band cult. Right? Now you heard that, right? 13 policemen hurt. Read a little bit of the story. 13 policemen were injured and several rioters were hurt when a horde of Negroes, aroused to frenzy by the teachings of a voodoo cult called itself Mohammedan. They marched on police headquarters Wednesday to protest the arrest of their leaders. So this was when they had arrested the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, tried to bring him up on charges of child truancy because they were starting their own independent schools. Now listen to what I'm saying. This was in 1934. The nation was already taking their kids out to school, starting independent schools before charter schools. All this shit, you see, got a certain history with the Nation of Islam. So many things that when you really start going into this stuff, and things went before that as well, but I'm just speaking on the subject of what they had done, what work they put in. So, the Muslims go to the police station, they get into a straight rumble with the police. Straight like that, fearless. You talking about this your great-great-grand peoples out there putting in work, fighting this goddamn policeman. You never seen near one of you damn nigga YouTubers out there in no damn streets fighting in no police station, putting in no work nowhere. They sit up there and open your goddamn mouth, talking all this nonsense, half of what you don't even know what the hell you talking about the nation and disrespectful comments towards Minister Farrakhan and Honorable Elijah Muhammad. See, that's why I say, because you don't know, that's why some of y'all, I ain't saying you need to get killed or hurt badly or nothing like that. Some of y'all kind of be deserving of getting your ass whooped. You see what I'm saying? Because you so disrespectful. All right, let me go to another quick one, right? And this was a trolley car incident. This happened in 1935. Where we at? So on March 5th, 1935, in the courtroom of Judge Schaefer at police headquarters at 11th and State Street in Chicago, 44 unarmed Muslims, 16 brothers, and 28 sisters withstood a fierce onslaught by heavy armed police who fired shotguns, pistols, and automatic weapons without one single Muslim casualty. Yet a police captain was stricken with a heart attack and died at the scene. And a court bailiff was shot and wounded by one of his own police officers. So, this incident was in retaliation to a fight that broke out between the Muslims and some folk on the trolley car. And while they was in the police station, another rumble broke out. And the Muslims was fighting the police with guns. You see what I'm saying? And these was white folks. You know, it's so many stories more that I can recite about the nation in this confrontation with white folks and the police and all that kind of stuff. But it's almost like you niggas is too dumb for somebody to keep teaching shit to. Because no matter how many times the lies get debunked, y'all just keep repeating the same stuff over and over and over again. Because really, and I'm going to get into why, because where some of your ideological foundations come from, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, let me hurry up because I don't want this video to go too long. Another incident you can look up on your own time is called the 1972 Harlem Mosque incident. That's when the police officer died for running up in the mosque. Yeah, he got murdered for running up in the mosque acting crazy. You see what I'm saying? Once again, just repeating it for you niggas that say the nation only mess with their own people. All right, let me move on. So, another book called Temple Number 7. Now, this was a book written by a brother called Minister James 7X of Minister Najee. He said, my years with Malcolm and Farrakhan. So now, he was with both of the brothers. He was around both of the brothers. Not hearsay, not what somebody told him, not what you seen in a movie. He was with both of the brothers, right? And I'm reciting this incident, a couple little small incidences, just to show the environment of the time and the different stuff that was going on, so you can kind of understand when people came up missing and different stuff happened, how tense it was at the time because of what was going on, right? So, all right, real quick. The year 1964 was a very troublesome year for the temples of the Nation of Islam, especially for the members of Temple Number 7. That was the one in New York. It was a year of hell and filled with verbal and physical abuse coming from both sides. You hear that? Both sides. But most of the time, and this is this brother's opinion, like I said, he was there, it was initiated from Malcolm's gun-toting followers. They would come to our places of business trying to intimidate us as they displayed their rifles and handguns. So now this brother is saying, this is the part that is never really told, that Malcolm's side, the people that was with him, was carrying guns and they was doing shit too. And they was talking their shit too. And all that shit was going on. So it wasn't like it was just one-sided. It was just the nation. They was messing with Malcolm and stuff like that. It was going on. It was stuff going on between both parties, right? So I'm going to fast forward, right? So it says in Philadelphia, Malcolm and his new teacher, W.D. Muhammad, began to attack Elijah Muhammad relentlessly. But their motives were different. Wallace, a deeply spiritual son of Elijah Muhammad, only wanted to take his father's teaching in Orthodox traditional Islam, whereas Malcolm, in his anger, desired to destroy every aspect of what Elijah Muhammad taught. In the end, Wallace would return to his father begging forgiveness, leaving Malcolm outside of the nation alone. And we see that when Wallace did get back in and he took over, his motives never changed. He took the nation into an orthodox direction. That was his motives from that beginning, and that's what happened with that. So you go on and talk about the captain at the time, Captain Clarence, and it says, who was not a man to cross. As history showed, the hospitalization of Audrey Burnett, beaten so badly on a Massachusetts highway that he had fractured on his vertebrae ankle and 2 ribs. And one cannot forget the death of Leon Amir, found strangled in a Boston hotel room. And like I said, I could go on and on with that, but what I'm showing was the environment was such a way that it was so much hostility that it could have went down at any given time. Even though we know that the CIA and the FBI was heavily infiltrated on both sides, and that Malcolm was definitely killed by intervention of the CIA and FBI. All right. So I'm going to move on off of that. Now, like I said, I was going to say something about Dr. Clark. I'm going to start with Dr. Clark first. And the reason why I'm talking about him, because he was very vicious with Minister Farrakhan. You just go look at some of his lectures. You go look at some of his lectures. Now, he talked very greasy about the minister. And part of the reason why I feel like he did that was because he felt some type of way that he couldn't get the following that Minister Farrakhan had, and he felt like he was more intelligent than Minister Farrakhan. Now, let me tell you something, right? Nobody can do this thing alone. It takes pieces from all different areas to build a movement, to have an organization. So John Henry Clark was a historian, but he had no foundation. He couldn't build no organization. He couldn't call 1,000,000 men. He didn't set up farms. He didn't set up schools. He didn't set up institutions. He was just an historian who, in my opinion, felt like he should have been more than that. So now it's by the grace of Minister Farrakhan, because all this shit he was talking, if it wasn't for Minister Farrakhan telling the FOI to stay off for certain people, let them speak their speech, a lot of people would have been had their ass whipped or beat up. You know what I'm saying? But it's because of him that people not getting touched, and then y'all still turning around talking all greasy about a man that's keeping people off of y'all. You know what I'm saying? So like, and then he said, and I talked about this before, when Malcolm died, he was in the house of some Jewish people. Now Malcolm was his man. You know what I mean? Go back and look at his documentary that Wesley Muhammad narrated, right? He say they found out Malcolm X died. His man. The Jewish people start talking greasy about Malcolm. His words. He didn't stop him. He didn't say nothing about him. He said they was calling Malcolm anti-Semitic and all this shit. You want to know what he said he did? He said he went in the bathroom and cried. That's what he said. He went in the bathroom and cried. Right? So what kind of bitch nigga shit is that? Like, you so tough, you big and bad and bold, you could talk all greasy about Farrakhan, but when your man die and you sitting right there, you don't say nothing about it. You don't say nothing to him. All right. Leave that one alone. All right. Now look at Dr. Sebi. Now, as much love and respect for Dr. Sebi, rest in peace. I'm not trying to disrespect the brother that he's deceased. Just like I'm not trying to disrespecting Dr. Clark. I'm just narrating some true events. Right? Look at some of Dr. Sebi takes. He talked greasy about Minister Farrakhan, even though Dr. Sebi was in the Nation of Islam. Did y'all know that? He was in the nation before. Right? So he talked about how the minister wouldn't listen to him. He couldn't get an audience with the minister and all this kind of stuff. And so he became disgruntled. And he said, oh, that's why he had to get his balls cut out and all this stuff, because he wouldn't listen to me and I couldn't fix them. But then he died in a jail cell alone. And Minister Farrakhan is in his 80s still going on. What is the lesson in that? The lesson in that is that you can be great in one area, but if you try to isolate yourself from everybody else and you can't look at the whole movement in its context and how everybody got stuff to contribute to it, and you keep trying to think, I'm going to be the greatest one. I'm going to be greater than everybody else. I'm going to be the one savior. I'm going to do it all. Nah, you're going to fall by the wayside, man. You know what I mean? You can't look at history like that. You can't look at life like that. And it really don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? And so he knew how to heal everything, but he couldn't protect himself. He could fix people. Yeah, he could fix people. He had some herbs. He had remedies. But then he couldn't save himself at the end. So what does it mean? At the end of the day, when the enemy can still touch you, you got to be humble. You got to be humble. You can't be coming at people like that, man. Talking all greasy. Go on, Dr. Ben. Right? Now, his was a little bit more covert, but he definitely expressed his displeasure with the nation and what he felt like they should have been following and what they should have been teaching. Once again, he was a historian, not a organization builder. And then, see, because he didn't die off just instantly like the other people, he still had time to come to grips with looking at the totality of everything. And what he did was donated his whole library to the Nation of Islam. Why did he give it to the Nation of Islam? Why didn't he give it to the YouTube dudes? Why didn't he give it to these other people that's so Afrocentric and all this other shit? Because the nation was an institution. It was somewhere that he could give it to that could preserve it. Somebody that had space for it. Somebody that could take care of it. Somebody that could make use for the stuff. Right? See, so you gotta be real. You gotta be rational. You know, when we talking about this whole freedom struggle and black liberation struggle and being descendants of slaves in America, it's a whole fucking context to this whole thing. And you can't be disrespecting people that have been standing up trying to put in work for a long time. Now, I'm not saying the nation is perfect. I'm not saying that Minister Farrakhan is perfect. I'm not saying nobody is perfect. What I'm saying is you got to handle shit in a certain kind of way. And you definitely got to be respectful to people who have put in work and struggled to try to make life better for you. You know what I'm saying? Even if you disagree, you know what I mean, different stuff, especially if you're young, you got to be humble. You got to be humble, man. You can't be going around talking all greasy about people and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that is what it is. Like I said, I could say a whole lot more about it, but I'm just leave it alone. But my overall message is that be humble because people might get their ass whooped. All right, peace.